Hello. We're here. We're here with a book review, and I've got blue lipstick on.
And I'm really happy about that.
She loves the blue lipstick.
I do love it.
I'm wearing the blue lipstick in honor of this week's interviewee, Claire Hartfield, who loves the color blue.
And who also recommended the book we're reviewing right now.
Bam!
Woohoo! We Are Okay.
We Are Okay by Nina. Now, there's some debate between us as to how to pronounce her last name.
Yeah.
So with all due apologies if we're doing it wrong, Nina LaCour.
I like that because it sounds French, and it does sound like a French name. So I'm going with it.
Okay. So We Are Okay. Let me do the deets. Doing the deets. This is by Dutton Books, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House, and it was published last year, 2017. So it's a kind of a newbie.
Yes, and it won the Printz Award,
yes.
The Michael Printz Award, which is actually a very big deal.
It's very awesome.
Yeah.
We love this book, and we are going to be effusive about why, without giving spoilers.
No spoilers.
My insistence.
No, she's right, or you won't read the book.
Of course I'm right.
She's kind of always right, but don't tell her I said that.
So, overview. We Are Okay is about who?
Marin, named for Marin County in Northern California.
Northern California, Marin County.
Right above San Francisco.
Yes.
And Marin has just started college in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And she has suffered some losses, but we have no clue what they are. Seriously, I mean, when you start the book, you have no clue what they are. She's definitely in a depressed, angsty sort of
isolation
place.
Kind of place.
Yeah. But we don't know why. Yeah. And that's what is actually interesting about this book's particular format, is that I have decided it is a new genre. It is called emotional mystery.
Emostery. I just made that up.
You did. But it makes it very cool.
It is. When you start reading this, you really don't know where everything is coming from, and you have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And for somebody who tends to judge books very quickly and then abandon them, I encourage you not to abandon this one because it is absolutely worth the read. But at first, you don't have a lot to go on. I believe very, very intentional on Nina. May I call you Nina? I'll call you Nina because I don't want to mess up your last name anymore. We're on a first name basis, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a personal book.
It is.
I mean, we're not saying it's based on Nina's life.
No,
we have no idea.
But it's she created it, and it has this very heartfelt quality to it.
Yeah.
You'll have to read it to find out why.
Yes, you will. Do you
But
want to do some prose?
let's do some prose.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, so prose. First of all, and this isn't easy, you really feel like you're in Marin's head. You experience not only the angst and the depression and the isolation, which we were talking about earlier, isn't necessarily scary to Marin, as it might be for me, for example, but actually is healing for her in some ways. But you also experience through flashbacks, which is partly how you learn the, well, I guess it's the whole way, actually. You learn the secrets, if you will. You experience them through Marin's body as well as her mind. It's a little hard to explain, but the way that Nina writes is you really feel, see, hear the experience. So you're in the experience. I think that's a big pro because as a writer, I know how hard that is to do. In fact, I'm not sure I've done it yet.
And it's not a giant book either.
No.
I mean, it's just that. But the writing is so clear and spot on that it's very visceral.
Yeah, that's a good word. It's very visceral. I like that word.
Words.
Good word. Another thing she did really well that's difficult is I feel like all the secondary characters are well drawn, are interesting. They're not just throwaway characters, and they move the story forward or help illuminate why Marin is feeling the way she's feeling or maybe making some of the choices she's making. Again, it's a slow build, so you don't get a lot of it, but the characters are definitely a big plus, I think.
Each one counts. Each one matters.
Yeah.
There's no extraneous, like baristas showing up.
Yeah, no baristas. Yeah. Although there is a pottery woman.
Well,
but we like her.
But, I think she also informs the story.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that. And then my other pro was the way that Nina uses weather. Marin obviously is coming from California, where it's not super, super warm in Northern California, but it's much warmer than New York in winter. And so Nina focuses a lot through Marin on the snow, on the darkness, on the cold, which reflects Marin's inner life to some extent. But also, I'm realizing this weather thing, because there's a very big contrast from her flashbacks in California, weather-wise as well, to her present in New York. And I love the way she uses weather as a reflection of past and present and of Marin's states of mind in past or present.
And she almost seems to go into this kind of winter hibernation kind of feeling, where, she looks out the window at this New York winter where just the snow just erases, puts this one single color palette of white around her. And, it's just very powerful imagery. And if you look at the cover, you see this California coastline with snow on top of it, which you really understand once you start getting into the book, where this all comes together, including the details around her. So very powerful imagery, and it does become another character.
Which is neat, because not everyone does that either.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your prose first?
Sure.
Before we go to cons?
I found Marin very compelling, and I found her very realistic. And Nina writes her as this very clear, messy, complex picture of somebody who's suffering issues of abandonment, issues of loss, issues of just self that she's struggling with. And it's not a caricature. Now, there is a feeling that she is going through a depressive time in this story, but it isn't a caricature of what depression looks like. And it's too easy for a lot of kinds of media to just kind of focus on, this is the path that depression takes, this is what it looks like, this is the end point, or one of the end points. This is not a caricature. It's complex and it's layered. Marin isn't just one thing, and she has moments of light as well as moments where she's questioning a lot of things. It's very positive, and it makes Marin very realistic to me. And
although you should add that a lot of the read is not, a lot of the read is uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable, yeah. This isn't really easy, comfortable read.
Right.
And that's not the grammar. It's not the sentence structure that's hard. It's the fact that you're going on a journey with Marin. And as real life does, that journey is full of bumps and bruises and ups and downs. And I think it's very informing of how people can grow and work their way out of moments of very deep loss. And those silent moments of desperation that Marin does go through. And I maintain this is a book of hope. But when you start reading it, you may not be convinced of that. Trust me.
Yes, she's right about that. I agree with that. Should we do our cons?
Do our cons. Okay. What didn't you?
So here are a few things that didn't totally work for me. One of them is there were, not a lot, but a few moments, or a few pages, I should say, where it's just a list, literally, of things, descriptions, like a list of underwear and hairdryer and blah, 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 blah. I didn't think it needed that. I don't know if a younger reader would need that. Maybe they'd be into it. But for me, after the third thing in these description lists or descriptive lists, what would you call them? Descriptive lists? Description lists? Things? List of things. I was like, done. So I kind of skimmed that. So that, if I'd been an editor, I might have messed with that. But whatever. That's just my opinion, of course. Another thing is, even though it's an emotional mystery, which is cool, the way it's written is you get very little clues early on. In fact, you really have no idea of the main issues at all until about page 163. So you have to really hang in there and decide that Marin herself is a compelling enough character, and Mabel. We haven't actually brought up Mabel.
Yeah.
Mabel's another main character. That their friendship and what they're dealing with is compelling enough that not knowing the secrets is okay. I would have liked a little more hints. I didn't need to know what they were exactly, but a little more hints to get some sense of what level they were at, which brings me to my third con, my last con, which was, given the buildup, my expectation was that the losses or the inciting incident, if you will, was a lot worse than it was. But as Christina and I discussed before, my horrific could be your who cares, and your who cares could be my horrific. So that's more personal probably to me in terms of me expecting or putting expectations on the book based on how long it took to reveal it. So that's my 2 cents.
I can absolutely understand where Annie's coming from on some of her cons. I don't necessarily agree with all of them, and she knows that. The descriptions, I know exactly where she's talking about in the story. I think descriptions are there to add weight to the moment. Listing things that fall into a certain very emotional category gives a weight to a moment. But some of them, are a little long, and I can see where you're coming from. But in terms of the letdown, I think it's informed a little bit by our age. A little bit. I think for somebody who would be Marin's age, the things...
Which is 18.
About 18.
Yeah.
I think that the feelings that she's experiencing overwhelm her ability to really put everything that's happened in perspective. And if you read the story, you will find out that there are some things any of you probably would have picked out, she should have made a different choice there. But this is very personal for Marin. This is happening to her. It completely overwhelms her sense of reason and choice. And so, for her and for somebody who's 18 who can identify with the kind of losses that Marin had, I think these are devastating losses. But, it's not that anything you said was wrong. I think it's just perspective, subjectivity of it.
Oh, yeah. And you actually said something earlier that I thought was good, which was...
So would you like to touch the book?
Oh, yeah, I'll touch the book now. Which was, if Nina had chosen to put in some flashbacks earlier, that might have made it easier for me to hook in quicker.
Yeah, maybe it was just a hooking.
It might just
Getting
been,
hooked in the
and
story.
again, we're not telling her how to write. She won
Yeah.
a Printz Award, but just FYI, that might have done it. Who knows?
Yeah.
The flashbacks, I will say, I think are extremely well done. And again, that is something that is very difficult to do as a writer.
It is, and they're just smooth.
Yeah,
So smooth.
and pretty seamless the way that she
Yeah.
goes back and forth in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just very jealous.
Now, should we discuss
Acceptance!
acceptance?
Boom.
Okay.
Touch the book.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to touch the book. So, okay, so themes of acceptance. This book is basically all about acceptance.
All acceptance all the time.
It really is. So it's about accepting your situation. It's about accepting your friends, the people around you. It's about accepting that people make choices that are not always in your best interest. I just thought of that. Even though they should be making them in your best interest, but that people are human, even adult people like her grandfather, who was a character in this. And a lot of her journey is about coming to terms, i.e. accepting what has happened, what choices she's made, what choices others have made, and then making her peace with that, which allows her to then let acceptance in the form of help.
This really is kind of more of an experience than just a read, and it touches on a lot of issues that are going to resonate with a lot of people. Not just, I don't think it's a book. Even though the protagonist is female, I don't think it's just a female book. I think
that's a good point. Well, because I mean, guys can certainly suffer from depression.
Absolutely,
they certainly suffer loss.
Yeah,
and the losses she suffers are not gender related.
Yeah,
we could say that, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I agree. A boy or a young man or a man. I mean, I don't even know. It's YA, but in some ways, it's pretty adult. I mean, I didn't feel like. Of course, we like reading kid books anyway, so we may not be the best judges of this, but I think it could easily be a great book club book for adults too. Don't you?
I do. The key is that people sequester themselves a lot into reading reading stories where the protagonist is reflective of where they are in terms of gender or sexual orientation or what have you. I think there's a lot to be said by reading broadly and widely and reading precisely those stories where you don't necessarily see yourself mirrored, because it's the reflection that informs you. So
yeah,
how's that?
That was pretty deep.
Yeah,
that was pretty deep. Basically, we recommend this book. We want you to know that you need to hang in there if you're not hooked immediately, because we think it's worth it. You can judge for yourself, in terms of the ending, if you feel a little more like me or a little more like Christina. But even if you feel like me, it's totally worth it to watch Marin's journey and how she deals with depression and acceptance and all that stuff, because we all need more pointers. We all have moments or periods of time when we're in the emotions Marin's in, even if for different reasons.
Yeah.
And it's always good to watch how other people deal with things, because it can help you learn to do something different or be less afraid. I was talking to Christina. We both have people in our lives who suffer from depression, and often people in depression do isolate and they do withdraw. And I know for me that can be scary because I worry they're going to be stuck there. But now, frankly, after reading this book, I could see how maybe sometimes isolation could be a healing thing. So maybe I won't get quite as worried next time a friend disappears for a few days or a week.
And again, it's just informing, giving you different tools to work with your own life. And stories are very, very powerful in doing that, and giving you tools for reflection and things that are real. Just because it's fiction doesn't mean it's not powerful or it doesn't matter. So cheers and congratulations to Nina for a beautiful book that we both really enjoyed, and we recommend it. Go get it.
We do.
Yes. All right. And remember,
choose acceptance. Subscribe. Oh, yes. Take a ride and subscribe. Subscribe.